Well, good evening from the Weather Channel Forecast Center. In a winter and now early spring season that continues to yield snow, and at times heavy snow, we get to go through another storm, this time over the northeast part of the country. In a moment, we'll join our own Jeff Morrow in North Tewksbury, Massachusetts, and get the latest on current conditions. Let's talk a little bit, though, about the development of this particular storm. A big area of low pressure, your lakes. Joining us live now is the Weather Channel's Jeff Morrow, and Jeff in North Tewksbury, Massachusetts. Each time we talk to you, conditions changing a little bit more. Give us the latest.
All right, the latest is, Declan, that it's a lousy Easter afternoon here and on into the early evening. Hopefully everybody's mostly at home and they won't have to be out in this kind of traveling conditions. Behind me, Interstate 495, just wet right now. We are getting a little bit more in the way of some snow. It's very wet, Declan, and you can see I've got a lot of, it looks like it's raining on me, but actually this is snow mixed in occasionally with a few sleet pellets and maybe even some raindrops in there too. Nothing terribly heavy yet, and it's just wetting down the roadway. But of course, as we've now pretty much lost the heating, or what little heating or solar radiation that there was during the day, I suspect that we'll start to see more in the way of some accumulation, particularly on these grassy areas and maybe eventually on some of the road surfaces. But overall, it has not been the best Easter, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a good start to the work week either.
That's right, Jeff, and also it appears that not only the snow moving in tonight, but the winds will probably start picking up. Again, thanks a lot, Jeff, and we'll be talking to Jeff throughout the evening as we join him northwest of Boston, Massachusetts. It's been an interesting storm system because we've had some ingredients come together, and on the satellite view you can see actually what's been happening as of late this afternoon. The clouds are kind of rotating very quickly towards the east and heading out over the open waters of the Atlantic. That's on the south side, but up here to the north, on the northern edge of this cloud pattern from Maine stretching back into eastern Canada, you notice there's kind of a twisting motion going on. This is all attributed to the big rotation around that upper level low pressure that we showed you just a few minutes ago sitting over the eastern Great Lakes. In this particular area, from let's say Harrisburg south to West Virginia and out west into the Ohio Valley, you notice how the cloud pattern changes a lot. And the reason for that is there's so much cold air pouring in at the lowest 15 to 20,000 feet of the atmosphere. It gets very unstable during the day. The sun is actually able to work down to ground level, warm it up a little bit, and then we have cold air aloft, so we get these snow showers that at times can be rather heavy with visibilities below a quarter of a mile. But this will be the main precipitation band tonight. We'll be watching this as it rotates its way kind of in a northwest to southeast fashion. We'll see it kind of pivot slowly off towards the northeast in the next 24 to 36 hours. At the same time, that moisture flowing in off the Atlantic Ocean, so the result should be some wet snow. One of the common characteristics of spring storm systems, you'll tend to find that, especially during the daytime hours, the lowest several thousand feet, even though it may be cloudy, the sun's ability to warm that lowest layer is still there, so we end up with the cold rain. A good case in point today, Long Island, temperatures in the mid-30s, every once in a while rain, cold rain mixing with sleet. What we'll watch for tonight is kind of a collapse of the rain-snow line. We've already seen the rain-snow line set up north of Albany and then cut across New Hampshire. That was several hours ago. Recently, we've noticed a kind of a southward plunge of the snow line. It's now poking into north-central Connecticut up to Worcester, Massachusetts, and we expect that trend to continue with the snow line collapsing even farther south and east towards Boston later on tonight. Starts out with rain in Boston, but later on tonight we do expect to change over to snow, and the winds will be picking up. Here's the moisture coming up from the south of Long Island, heading up across the Sound and then affecting the coastal communities. Bridgeport, you've had some rain mixed with sleet, occasionally some very wet snow. It's snowing up in the hills in Litchfield County around Torrington. We're getting some accumulation probably up on some of the higher slopes. And then you head south, all rain in Philadelphia. But get ready. You see these clouds, or excuse me, the radar echoes from Baltimore out north and west? That represents the leading edge of some of that colder air, that unstable air. And as it punches east tonight on the south side of the storm, we could actually see the rain changing over to snow, and accumulations are still possible in northwestern Jersey and heading on south. Even Philadelphia, perhaps a bit of slushy snow before things start to quiet down. A reminder that coastal flood warnings are in effect for eastern Massachusetts tonight. There could be not only beach erosion, but coastal flooding from the storm, especially 2 to 4 this morning, or I should say Monday morning. That's the time when high tides will be rolling in, and at that time water levels could be running 1.5 to 2.5 feet above normal. We'll keep you updated on this storm system as it continues to work its way slowly across the northeast part of the country. For the rest of the current national weather and the forecast, here's Jill Brown.
Well, if you get away from that storm, it really hasn't been a bad Easter. A lot of sunshine down to the south, which looks better than it was yesterday. And with a little bit of that April sun, temperatures warmed up fairly nicely. No, we're not quite up to normal yet. 60 in Atlanta, and Birmingham is about 10 degrees below where you should be. Even 70 down here around Tampa is not up to par. But all in all, I think we'll take what we can get at this point. As a matter of fact, with this low coming in tomorrow, we're probably going to see more clouds. So today was the nicer day, that's for sure.
Oil in your engine. What's like that?
More about the weather around
Area, South Weymouth, now changing over to snow. Worcester, you've had snow for a while. Winter storm warnings are in effect from Worcester back to Hartford. And New York City, it's been rain, but we think you're going to get some snow, and you'll probably end up with an inch or two, which is no big deal compared to areas to the north, where in the gray zones, we think we could see 6 to 12 inches of snow. Pretty big snowfall for April, and it may not be the last one. I'll show you why. Watch this area of low pressure. The jet stream's going to kind of steer it.
only on the Weather Channel.